welcome to the Karen Kenney Show. Hey, you guys, welcome to the Karen Kenney Show. I'm super duper excited to be here with you today. And if you're new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so happy that you are spending a little time with us today. And if you are not necessarily a new kid on the block anymore, if you remember New Kids on the Block, still a fan. But if you are not a new kid on the block, if you've been around a little bit, welcome back. I'm so happy to have you here with us. So I'm just going to dive right into this sucker. So you might have noticed that the tagline for this podcast is spreading more love in the world, spreading a little more love in the world. I like to get that stuff around. You know what I mean? And so one of the ways that I do like to do that, though, is by sharing resources. Now, whether they're fun resources, sometimes they're free resources, sometimes they're not free, but they're still wicked helpful. But I like to share resources with people I care about and that I know can make a difference not only in your life, but also out in the greater world, right? So that it has an exponential effect. And this is the perfect time to be talking about this because today, you guys, it just so happens, right? My podcast come out on Thursday. And today, this Thursday, November 13th, it's World Kindness Day. Yay! I'm a wicked big fan of kindness, right? Some of my heroes are like kindness leaders, right? Mr. Fred Rogers, Mr. Bob Ross, etc., etc. I'm really into kindness, right? Being a vegan for like 23 years, showing kindness and compassion towards animals. Being a yoga teacher, the foundation of yoga, ahimsa, non-harm, compassion, right? Like spreading kindness and love is kind of my jam. I'm into it. Okay, so about a month or so ago, I sent out an email to my community letting them know that World Kindness Day was going to be coming up in about a month or so. And I sent them an email and I sent them this cool, resource and stuff like that. And then I was like, oh, shoot, I want to make sure that I also share it with all of you. So here we are. Okay, because you're my amazing listeners and I super duper appreciate you. Okay, so I'm just going to start with something right here. So remember how I told you back in October, I was walking around my neighborhood like a little weirdo? With my Thompson Tigers cleanup team patch on. If you're new here, in fifth grade, we had a Thompson Tigers cleanup team. So we would go around our neighborhoods and like pick up trash or whatever. And I had found it recently and I was so inspired. I'm like, I'm going to go out my neighborhood because the route that I run, I kept seeing trash on the side of the road. And I was like, hey, if nobody else is going to pick it up, I'm going to pick it up. Right. So I was out there for a few days with trash bags and I collected like all this trash off the streets. It was wicked fun. But while I was out there, I'm trying to tell this fast because I know I already talked about this, but it's going to make a point. So while I was out there, I met this older woman named Jessie. And Jessie stopped me, asked me what I was up to, what I was doing. I told her what was going on. She told me she lived way, 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 way at the other end of the street. And like a couple of miles down the other end of the road. So, I mean, first of all, she gets out there and walks. Like, so kudos to her. Double amen hands for getting her ass in gear and keeping, like, move it or lose it. You know what I'm saying? So I thought that was awesome. And so she told me she lived down the other end of the road. And this is what she said to me. And I quote, I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget. She says, every day I try to find a kindness. And then she shook her head and she was like, oops, like she made a mistake. She misspoke. She's like, I mean, do a kindness. And she goes, and you've inspired me to get out there and clean up my end of the street too. And first of all, I just love that idea. I talked about this before of quote unquote, finding a kindness. Like how sweet is that? And then also I love doing a kindness each day. And I saw her the other day. I was driving down the street and I saw her out there power walking, doing her thing. And it made me think of her and this idea of finding a kindness or doing a kindness. And that reminded me of a video from like 14 years ago. And I wonder if you guys remember it too. Double amen hands if you do. But it was a video called The Kindness Boomerang. And it was put out by a company. I want to say it was like the life vest inside or whatever. It's a YouTube video. I'm going to put the link to it in the show notes. So if you want to watch that sucker, you can. but you might remember it yourself. So it kind of starts off where there's a kid on a skateboard. So there's like three girls in front of him skateboarding. He's behind and he's holding something in his hand. And so he's riding his skateboard and he totally wipes out. And a construction worker, like, wearing the bright day glow vest, right? Like stops what he's doing, helps the kid up. And the kid like smiles at him and they have this moment. Okay. The kid starts to go down the street a smidge more. He like turns around. He's got his skateboard under his arm and he sees an old lady like struggling with her grocery bags. So then this kid helps the old lady pick something up off the ground, helps the old lady, walks across the street with her grocery bags, right? So they have this moment where now the kindness is boomeranging, right? And then the old lady like steps onto the sidewalk. She's walking down the street and she sees a woman like struggling with her purse, like, scourging through her purse, like trying to find some change for the parking meter. And so the old lady gives her some coins to put in the parking meter. So you get the gist of it, right? It's a ripple of kindness in action. It's a ripple effect. And like I said, if you want to watch the whole thing, it's like 5 minutes long. It's fantastic. And the way that it ends, it comes all the way back around. Where at the very end, the boomerang is that the construction worker's like on the street and there's a waitress inside the restaurant where he's working in front of, and it's a hot day and she comes out and she brings him a glass of water. So you see how this kindness like boomerangs all the way around. And boomerang's one of those words that I just love too. I think there's certain words that I really dig. I love the idea of an echo and I love the idea of this boomerang. So it's a really, really, really cool thing. So how I discovered that today was World Kindness Day, I know my friend KT, like in the past, she does these great resources for educators, homeschoolers, teachers, right, parents, all on like she's a member of like TPT, Teachers Pay Teachers. She also has her own website, Curse and Caboodle. And she sells these amazing workbooks on Amazon as well. And I know way in the past, like she's, and recently she's done a thing on World Kindness Day. But how I found out about the resource that I'm going to share with you today it's like 31 days of kindness. I learned about this from my friend Tess Masters. Tess Masters is a lot of things. One of the things she is she's an author, she's an actor, she's kind of world famous. She's known as the Blender Girl. Tess is actually going to be on the podcast later this month, so be looking out for that. But she told me about this 31 days of kindness campaign. And I couldn't wait to share it with you guys. So Tess basically said that her friend, and I wrote it down again because I never like to get these things wrong. Her friend, Dr. Michelle Robin, who is the founder of a company called Small Changes, Big Shifts. So her friend, Dr. Michelle Robin, created this campaign 6 years ago. And Tess was saying that she looks forward to doing it every single year. And I was like, cool, I'm in, sign me up. Like, let's go. We're going to do this thing. Okay. So today being World Kindness Day, I thought this is the perfect resource to share with you guys if you're into it. If you're into doing kind things, if you're into kindness, if you think the world could use a little more kindness, right? I mean, who here doesn't think that the world could use a little bit more kindness? Okay. So I signed up to do this sucker. And now I'm inviting you to do it along with me. Now, the good news is it's free to participate, number one. And then number two, nobody's trying to sell you anything. There's no offer at the end. There's no catch. There's no like whatever. This is literally just a free resource, a way to participate in something that's really beautiful and helpful. And nobody's selling you anything, okay? It's just a wicked good chance. I always say it's a wicked fun chance to do good and feel good. And we're going to talk about the do good and the feel good in a moment, because kindness is more than just quote unquote the right thing to do, right? I'm making little air quotes. Yes, it's a beautiful thing to do. It's a spiritual act, I think, kindness. I think, anytime you extend love and show kindness, I always say like God is there, right? Like the best of the universe is there. And they say Dr. Michelle Robin on the website for this, where you sign up, which I will also share the link. It says this: in a time when the world feels more divided than ever, kindness is a powerful force for unity and healing, which, yeah, 100%. So this is how it works. This is how like you do this whole thing. And I have a little graphic here too. But most of you are listening. You're probably not watching, even though I have, this comes out as a video as well, in case you didn't know that, on my YouTube channel. And if you just go to, YouTube and then put in at Karen Kenney, my name, like all my videos will come up. So step one, here's the deal. You sign up. You sign up for this campaign. And they call it a campaign and not a challenge for a reason, and we'll get there in a second. So step one is you sign up, and here's the link. I'm also going to put it in the show notes, but if you're just there and you got a pen and you want to write this sucker down, this is what you do. You go to smallchangesbigshifts.com/kindness. Okay, small changes, big shifts, plural, .com/kindness. And that's how you get there. And what's going to happen is this. So each morning for 31 days, you are going to get an email. And in this email, it's very simple. Here's what you get. You're going to get a daily quote about kindness that you can get inspired by. You'll be given a random act of kindness that you can, and this is the important word, choose to do. This isn't a challenge, right? It is a campaign, which means you have something that you don't have to do this every day. I always say this is a get to. You get to do it every day. It's not like force, and there's no guilt or stress or whatever involved in this. Do the ones that ring true for you. Do the ones that inspire you. Do the ones that light up your heart. You know what I mean? Don't make this hard. Don't make yourself bad if you miss a day or whatever. Okay, this is a get to. So all they want you to do is like simply just follow your heart and do what feels right for you. And then this is how you're going to learn over these 31 days how the act of kindness greatly impacts you. It impacts you, it impacts the world, it impacts your well-being, because both giver and receiver receive from this. And again, we're going to talk about that in a moment. And then I always say in step 3, you get to have a blast practicing spreading kindness in some way each day. But here's what's happened, okay? Number 1, I'm holding up the little graphic from their website. Step 1, you sign up, you receive 31, you can sign up, you can invite your friends, I'll just keep it simple. And then you're going to start to receive your first email with a quote, a small message, and an act of kindness idea. All right? It's going to be a little quote, a little message, and an act of kindness idea. And this is what it says. It goes on. You get to choose whether you'd like to do the act of kindness. Again, it's a campaign, not a challenge, because we want people to pick the ones that speak to their heart. I love that. Number 5, this is so good. This is so good. Listen to this. Showing kindness goes beyond just being nice. In fact, researchers have proven simple acts have a profound impact on the physical and the mental health of both the giver and the receiver. So this email series takes you on a journey to discover why kindness matters to your well-being and why it not only lifts you up, but creates an ongoing ripple of good in the world. Like, how fantastic is that? But like, now let's get into the science though, because we all know, like, when you do something kind, when you do something nice, it feels good. Yes. But it's like, why does it feel good? What's going on inside of you? It feels good, obviously, for the person to receive it, right? Unless they kind of, a lot of people kind of suck at receiving love. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Right. But little acts of kindness are like so powerful. And, even most people can at least receive that, even if on the inside they don't believe that they're worthy or deserve it or whatever. But most people can usually receive a little kind little act. Okay. But get this, here's the science. Check this out. So UC Berkeley, they did this research and they found that people who were kind, just by simply being kind, which look, kindness created us kind, A Course in Miracles says. Kindness created us kind. It is our natural, it is who we are. Love is who we are. Kindness is a natural extension of that, right? Like spiritually, this is our DNA imprint, kindness, okay? But UC Berkeley found that people who were kind tended to have higher self-esteem. Yes, who doesn't want that? A greater sense of self-efficacy, right? Self-efficient, feeling like you're capable of doing things. Yes, double check, sign me up. less depression, no brainer, less anxiety, amazing, and improved physical health. So listen to that. People who were kind tended to have higher self-esteem, greater sense of self-efficacy, less depression, anxiety, and overall improved physical health. And here's the thing, because showing and receiving kindness, listen to this, it releases three natural chemicals up in the old noggin, up in our old brain, right? This is what gets released. Oxytocin, that feel-good chemical, that love chemical, you know, when you're petting your dog and your dog, like you get to pet your dog and it makes you so happy and your dog's brain is firing oxytocin too. And you guys are sharing that moment, right? And their little butt is wiggling and their chest is like exposed to you. And like, they're just so happy when you pet your animals, right? Same thing. When you hug somebody, right? And you both get that really good rush of like feel good chemicals, right? Oxytocin. It also releases serotonin and dopamine. Okay. Oxytocin helps regulate our emotional responses to situations. Just think about this. I'm going to say this again, because really take a moment to pause and think about how now we got the ripple effect. We got the kindness boomerang happening just by doing kindness inside of ourselves, right? These amazing chemicals get released, and oxytocin helps regulate our emotional responses to situations. So this means that we're maybe more prepared to be calm, to not react from fear, to not be a total dickhead, right? To like put a comma in our commentary and choose who and how we want to be and how we want to show up. Dopamine regulates our mood and our muscle movement. This is so important. Mood regulation. Again, when your mood is regulated, how you show up and respond emotionally, the words that come out of your mouth, your patience, your kindness, your response is going to be totally different. And serotonin, it also affects mood, sleep, and digestion, which we know so many people, including maybe even you, like double amen hands if that applies to you. Like, hey, most people could use a little more help having better sleep, having better digestion, having better states of mind. You know what I mean? Because when you're in a funk, or if you're not in a good place in your mind, it really frames our perspective and how we look at the world and interact with the world, right? So overall, scientists learn that people who were kind or regularly engaged in informal acts of kindness tend to have higher well-being, which in other words is like saying that we're well in our mind, in our body, and in our spirit, which is pretty fantastic. It also helps, right, for us to we're better equipped to face obstacles with strength, clarity, and calmness. So this is like a win-win when we participate in this 31 days of kindness, and today being World Kindness Day. Who doesn't want to kick it off with this sucker? Okay. Here's another thing. When we show kindness, because here's a cool thing about practicing for 31 days, you get to first and foremost also practice on extending kindness to yourself. And when you get better, it's just facts. When you get better, right? Spiritual wisdom here. When you get better at extending kindness, aka love, compassion, tenderness, mercy, all these things, because kindness kind of involves all of these other things. When you extend kindness and show it to yourselves, we are far more likely to extend and show that kindness to others, to the people around us. And whether that's your kids, whether that's your furry kids, whether that's your sweetie, a partner, your best friend, your neighbor, your family, whatever, your coworkers, right? The ripple effect, it goes out. And the reality of it is that we kind of, as I was saying earlier, we kind of suck sometimes at receiving kindness, especially from ourselves. We sometimes can be really brutal to ourselves and wicked hard on ourselves and set an expectation in a bar that is so high that it's almost impossible to meet. And we don't take the time to just slow down and say like, hey, I could maybe be a little nicer to myself. I could maybe talk to myself a little more kindly. You know what I mean? So like anything else, practice, I would say practice helps to make progress. It's not about doing it perfectly. Practice makes progress. So over these 31 days of kindness, you get to practice being kind toward yourself. And that alone, right? When you start to set your like base, like call it your temperature or your base setting as, yeah, I'm just not going to talk to myself like an asshole today. I'm gonna recognize and slow down and be kind and use better words, tell myself better stories about myself. You know what I mean? This is very powerful stuff. And so when you start to do that and you practice it for 31 days, this is how we can start to create shifts in perception in our mind from fear to love. This is how we start to create better habits. This is how we start to create better patterns, better ways of being. We're already so deeply conditioned from our childhood, from our past, from our history, right? Our families, etc. And now we get to have a say, and we start by getting to practice in a wicked fun way. And you don't have to come up with these suckers. Remember, each day for 31 days, you're going to get in the mail, in your email, you're going to get a little quote that inspires, right? A little act of kindness that you get to choose to do or not do, right? It's going to be like super duper helpful. And it's really great. And you learn how it impacts your well-being. So I already signed up. Okay. I already received my first 31 days of kindness email. I'm really feeling jazzed up and I'm wicked excited to spread a little more kindness and love in the world. And here's the thing, if this show, and I get nothing from this, I'm meaning like I'm not getting paid. There's no like whatever. I'm just doing this because I think it's such a fantastic idea. And you don't have to do this, like meaning you could just decide that for like the next whatever, however many days, 30 days, I'm going to send a little love note to somebody. You can do your own version of the kindness thing, right? But if this inspires you to sign up specifically for the 31 days of kindness, if you want to sign up too, please write to me. Send up a flare. Let me know you're doing it with me because it'd be really fun to know that you're doing it right alongside me. And if you think there's somebody else who would enjoy doing this, share this with them. Share this episode with them. They'll get in the show notes, right? If you just go to KarenKenney.com/podcast, or if you're on my email list and you get this email, this podcast in your inbox every Thursday morning, just forward that sucker. If you're not on my list and you want to have this show sign up in your inbox every morning, it's just on Thursdays, it's just KarenKenney.com/sign up. So you guys, let's start a ripple of kindness. Let's lift each other up with our love and our being nice, right? Doing kind things to each other. And let's make Mr. Rogers proud. Mr. Rogers taught us all about this stuff. Bob Ross taught us about being kind to ourselves as well, right? I keep pointing back there. If you're not watching the show, you're like, what? I keep pointing behind me because he's sitting behind me over there. All right. And yeah, and like, look, all the spiritual traditions tell us, love thy neighbor, right? Like, be kind to each other. This is the gig. Like, this is the gig baseline. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to animals. Be kind to one another. And this is a wicked fun opportunity to do that. So again, the link, if you want to just type it in yourself, it's smallchangesbigshifts.com/kindness. And I'll also put the link to that YouTube video for the Kindness Boomerang, because it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun to see. And I think that just, the world right now, I mean, always, always, always the world can use more kindness. And right now, especially, and kindness is just one of those things that helps to bridge the gap. When we have division, when we have like so much belief in separation, and when we're othering other people all the time, right? So this is a beautiful way to kind of, again, like I said, start a ripple of kindness, lift each other up, and spread a little more love in the world. So wherever you go, remember, write to me. Let me know if you're doing this. Okay, wherever you go, may you leave the people, the animals, yourself, the place and the environment, the planet better than how you found it. Wherever you go, may you and your love and your energy and your presence and your kindness be a blessing. I already know that it will be. Okay, bye.